Hi, I'm s.t.a.l.k.e.r, and today I'll be walking the wasteland of Zona, the Secret of Chernobyl. It's been a while since my last video in this series, but I'm back to it. Today I'll be running the prospector, actually the same character I used in my original review, so I should be able to use my experience to get a little further this time. The prospector has 3 awareness and has a skill to reroll all 3 dice for the cost of 2 fatigue, rather than 1 die for 1 fatigue, and that might come in handy. But I hadn't even finished setting up when I cut my hand on the camera stand. I guess the zone is reminding me that it can be dangerous, but that danger does come with rich rewards. Getting stuck in, I have learned to pay attention to the cost of unlocking the various secret areas, and one nearby requires a yellow artifact and just a little money. So I headed up to the yellow zone where an anomaly was just happily sitting well within reach. I even got a bonus move from the first of turns event card. Equally, I'm getting stuck into painting the model, which I did after playing, of course. The pose has her shielding her eyes as if from some bright light, and I wanted to include that in my painting with some directional lighting, say from a truck's headlights, which might be yellow. And so for each part of the model, I mixed a little black into the colour of choice. In this case, her trousers were green. And after just 1 coat of that, I paint a mid-tone paint of unmixed green as the highlight over most of the middle of the area and pointing upwards and towards that light source. And then as a third layer, I mix in some yellow with that green, and I paint that just at the closest edges towards where the light would be. Moving on the game, I did manage to get hold of that artifact, but I got hunted by mutants in the night, a maniac, and also a creepy horror movie girl. But I did make it to the emission observatory, and that creepy girl actually led me inside to where some documents were kept. And as I looked through the deck of cards, the power plant blueprints was one of the options to choose from, and that just seemed too appropriate. It's also a really good card to have. And the model is coming along also as best as I can manage. I painted her jacket in the same 3 steps. A blue this time, mixed with a little black for the base layer, just the blue for the mid-tone over most of the jacket, and then mixing in a yellow for the highlight pointing towards that source of light. I didn't realise it yet, but my choice of colours hadn't been all that great. The green trousers, when mixed with yellow, doesn't really make yellow, it makes a lime green. And the blue jacket, when mixed with yellow, also doesn't make yellow, that also makes a light green. And after that I painted her scarf with a bruise purple coloured paint. The same 3 steps, 1 with black, 1 straight and 1 with yellow. But with this paint, the yellow really didn't come out very strongly at all because the purple is so dark. And as purple has a strong blue pigment, there is still that just tiny slight little green tinge to it as well. Well, as I struggle with that, I realise that another of the secret locations has some requirements to unlock that I can manage. It will give me 6 radiation damage, but I have my suit, an artifact, and I brought some air filters from the camp, and that will cancel out 4 of it. Now, as you remember from the beginning of this video, sometimes you get hurt, but the rewards are so valuable, it might be worth it. And so off I went to trek to the archive, and I burned all of that equipment to protect me, mostly, on the way in, and I did manage to get in and get my secret item to access the centre, and to find the source. Happily, it was a better suit than the one I'd just ruined. On the way out I found another scavenger in trouble, stuck in an anomaly. I could walk on by, leaving them to their fate, but no. I'll risk it, I'll take the damage, it's the right thing to do, and maybe having a friend will be its own treasure in the future. Well, here is where the bad decisions start to come in. I've filled in all of the parts of the model. I've got her boots, the bag, detector in her hand, and her hair and skin. And each relevant surface has just that tiny little bit of mixed in yellow full highlight. And as I mentioned before, it's looking terribly green at this point. It doesn't seem like she's being lit up by a truck's yellow headlights, but rather some sickly anomaly illuminating the area with a poison green glow. And while now I think that's really cool, at the time I still wanted that yellow highlight. And so to push that, I mixed in more yellow with each area, over and over again, 3, 4, 5 layers in places. I even painted pure yellow on the smallest, closest points to the light source. But I wasn't really managing to make it yellow, I was just brightening the green. And I stuck with it for far too long. The other big mistake at the end of this project was my last big decision in the game. I went directly from the second secret area to the centre, rather than stopping by a camp to heal or to collect some more equipment. I had some damage, sure, not a lot. And I had some fatigue, yeah, sure, not a lot. And I had a half-decent rifle. However, very little else, and not the kind of equipment that I want to face the various dangers that I might face in the sarcophagus. And this is a lesson that I have learnt before, or maybe I haven't learned it yet. The event cards at the source came and went, and I failed each one in turn. Once to willpower, once to smarts, I took damage, I took more fatigue. I got a weakness. The long-term injuries in this game. Maybe not that long-term for me. Stuck in this cycle, an emission raged outside, scorching the lands of other scavengers, but I pressed on to my final opportunity to reach the goal. I got into a fight and used most of the ammo for my rifle, and I ended up taking another weakness for it. And then another. And finally, after the 4th event card, my time ran out. All 4 weaknesses means my character dies, and the game is lost. What is not lost is my model. It is impossible to ruin a model with paint, as you can always paint over it or remove it. I chose to add some more paint and just minor touches, but rather than stubbornly pushing the headlights like I have been doing, I went the other way to strengthen the shadows, glazing in some black paint, a difficult process to be sure, behind her legs, behind her back and arm, everywhere pointing away from the glowing green light. And I think this brought the model into being just about passable in that lighting effect. The darker back of the model made the brighter front make more sense. Rather than just being kind of subtly green, she's now lit by the green light in the darkness. And so there she is, maybe a little reckless, but she's painted and ready to wander the zone again someday. If you have any comments about the game, my painting, especially that lighting, do let me know in the comments section below. I'll also put a link to my review in the description, as it's been quite a while and some of the new viewers amongst you might not have seen it. But for now, I'm s.t.a.l.k.e.r, always will be, and thank you very much for watching.